Hi guys, my name is David. If you are new to my channel, hi, welcome. And if you have been watching my videos for a while now, welcome back. So today I will be reviewing Dread, which is based on the stories by Clive Barker. This is a graphic novel. This is the first graphic novel that I am reviewing on my channel. Never done one before. I got this off of eBay secondhand, and if you have watched a previous video of mine where I got several books off of eBay and all are physical copies, and I just showed them to you in that video, and this happens to be one of them. I didn't expect to be reading this one as soon as I did, because I know this is going to be uploaded on my channel in February, but I read this in January. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to read it, you know, that last month at all. But I had a couple of days free, and because it's a graphic novel, it doesn't take too long to get through. It's about 80 pages long, so it's a very small one. This one does include two stories in it, Dread and a story called Down Satan. So I will be doing a mini review for each of these stories. As I said, this is a graphic novel, and because it's really short, I can't really go into much depth with the storyline. So, but I will do my best. Also, if you are wondering, this is a Eclipse graphic novel, as it has their logo up there. I'm not sure if you can see it. So I'm not sure whether every copy of Dread has a Dread and Down Satan in it, or whether it's just the Eclipse version. But it was a nice surprise to actually find out that there was two stories in this book. So first, I'm just going to talk about Dread. Dread was I'm actually not sure when it was published. I did some research and I couldn't find out. But when I looked in the graphic novel, it said that it was that the copyright is for 1992. So I presume that the story was published around that time frame. And the story was adapted by Fred Burke, and the artist for that specific story was Dan Breton. Apologies if I've said names wrong, but I really like this graphic style. It was really spooky and realistic. And yeah, I just really liked it. I spent more time just looking at the pictures and fully absorbing the story and then reading the text. I don't really read that many graphic novels, but it's a new way of absorbing stories for me. I know that there is a movie based on Dread by the same name, and that one was released in 2009 rather. I haven't watched it, but I have watched the trailer for it. And it seems to go a bit more in depth with the storyline, as I said, the graphic novel of Dread is about 40 pages, give or take. So the movie didn't really have much material to actually work with, but judging by the trailer, it looked interesting. So as I said, I'm just going to do a mini review of Dread. As always, this is going to be a spoiler-free video, and this is going to be my own thoughts and feelings regarding this story. So the story focuses around our main character called Steve Grace, who we don't really know much about. We see him sitting in a bar by himself and he's drinking. We do know that he is a college student. I can't really remember what he's studying, but he is a young man. I always saw Steve as about 22, 23 years of age. He doesn't specify how old he is. But when he's at the bar, he's approached by a unique individual called Quaid. Once again, hopefully I've said his name right, but that's how I read it as. Quaid is unique, and I'll put it like that. He is an intellectual, but he's very creepy. He goes up to Steve and he I wouldn't say befriends him, but he has a chat with him, and he discusses this concept of fear, or what he calls dread. If he's talking about dreads and fear, they are the same thing. He just refers to fear and dreads as the same thing, if that makes sense. He is very creepy. He has this weird stare that he does throughout the book, and he refers to dread as this mysterious beast. And we see this beast in this book that's portrayed as kind of like a wolf figure. Let me see if I can find a picture of this wolf. There we go. Oh, sorry. So that's what the that's what the beast looks like. It's only mentioned very, very, very briefly. We doesn't really go into super detail about what the beast is or where it came from, but it's implied that dreads or fear and the beast are connected somehow, but it's never really explained. So as the story progresses, Quaid and Steve become close. They actually meet up and have a chat with each other. And one day, Quaid is actually talking to Steve in his house, I believe, and Steve knows that Quaid was interested in photography, as I believe that he borrowed a camera off of Steve. And Steve is asking if he can have it back, and Quaid's like, "Oh yeah, well, I forgot about my experiment." And Steve's like, "Well, what do you mean? What experiment?" So Quaid shows Steve all these photos that he's actually taken of this experiment. Now, if you are a vegan or a vegetarian, then maybe give dreads a miss or a skip, because this experiment, what it actually is that Quaid has got a woman or a lady in this book that he's gone on a couple of dates with, and he's put her in a room by herself. He knows that she is I'm actually not sure if she's a vegetarian or a vegan. I'm pretty sure she's a vegan in this story. So he puts her in a room by herself, locks her in without any windows, and it has a bucket in the corner where she can do her business, and it has a plate which has a bit of beef on it. And he knows that, and as I said, he knows that this woman is a vegan. So he has a camera up there which is constantly taking pictures of her, and Quaid shows Steve about this process, about how this woman was broken down to an insane degree, about how she was going a bit mad in this room, and he was just trying to study her fear, and in the end she ate the beef, which went a bit maggoty and off, but she ate it nevertheless because she wanted to survive. And after this, Steve is a bit shocked, and shortly after this, Steve finds himself in his own experiment that Quaid has put him in. Steve knows that what Quaid's actually doing. He knows that he's being observed. But while this is going on, we find out that Steve, as a child, got into a car accident which temporarily he lost his hearing. He actually temporarily became deaf, and in that time, which is mentioned very briefly in the book, I think it's about a page or two, he felt secluded in his house because he couldn't hear and he felt cut off from the rest of the world. So that was a really scary time for Steve. And when he wakes up, he's in this kind of like cage environment, and he has this thing over his head which blocks his hearing, so he can't hear. And that scares him, and he becomes a bit he actually loses his sanity to an insane degree, and he becomes mad. And when he escapes from this, he is put into a mental asylum, and where he has gone completely doolally. And while this time, at the same time, we find out that Quaid is afraid of this clown, which has this axe on him. We don't really know what this, about the name of this clown. We just know that There we go. So we just know that Quaid is extremely afraid about this recurring dream of this axe-wielding clown. Yeah, that's where I'll leave it at. This is a really good story. It's not super detailed. It doesn't go into the characters of Quaid or Stephen to an insane degree or in depth. It doesn't explain the clown at all. It just seems to cut from Quaid being this really strange and creepy character to a character who is extremely afraid of this clown. It's not really like an in-between part of it, if that makes sense. But this was a really fun read, and I would give this book, that story, a 3.5 stars out of 5. So next I'm going to be talking about Down Satan, which is the second novel in this book. Once again, I couldn't find when this book was published, but like Dread, it was the copyright was for 1992, so I presume it was released in that same year or roundabouts. The story was adapted by Steve Nels, and the artist was Tim Conrad. Sorry. This one seemed a bit more different of an art style than Dread. It wasn't better or anything like that. It was just different. And the overall story has an overall narrative. It doesn't really have that much dialogue in this story. I believe that there's no movie or adaptation based on Down Satan, but doing some research, I found out that Down Satan is a short story in Clive Barker's Books of Blood, which is volume 4. So I found that kind of interesting. So like Dread, I'm not going to give any spoilers away, and this is going to be my own thoughts and feelings regarding Down Satan. So the story of Down Satan is extremely straightforward, as it focuses around a owner of this massive corporation or building or company, I'll say. This person's name is called Gregoratius. I'm not sure, probably said it completely wrong, but I will be referring to this person as Greg. Greg is, it's not really known much about his personality or his motivations, but we find out that he, as I said, he is an owner of a massive company, and this massive skyscraper, and he is a Satanist. I can't believe I'm actually saying this while I've actually got a Bible next to my bed. So, but yeah. Greg, we don't really know much about him. I believe that he's a bit mentally unstable, but throughout the story, he is on a mission to. He wants to attract Satan or the devil to Earth, and he wants to. It's not really explained about why he wants to do this. Outside of meeting the guy and saying hi to Satan. Greg, so the way that Greg attracts the devil to Earth is that he wants to, he knows that he has to do something to get the devil's attention, so he can come from hell to Earth, and Greg knows that he has to actually do this. He does this by constructing this massive building that's, to put it bluntly, referred to as Hell on Earth. This is what it actually looks like. So yeah, this building doesn't really have a purpose. It's not like a hotel or an office block or a apartment building or anything like that. It doesn't really have much. If it has a purpose, it isn't brought up in the book, or if it is, it's very, very minor, and I missed it. This building is more or less like a dungeon, and it doesn't have no one actually lives in it, no one works in it. It's just that Greg has actually found this madman in this asylum, and who was an architect, and he goes up to this person, and Greg asks him to construct this building for him, which I've just shown you. This building as I said, doesn't have anybody in it. It's not like an office block or an apartment building, like I said. But the architecture is very much like a dungeon. It has chains everywhere, it has corridors in it, and as I said, the purpose isn't really explained at all. And Greg, when it's constructed, Greg spends all his time in this building, wandering its halls, trying to find trying to find Satan. And yeah, so that's pretty much the whole story about it. At the end, I won't say what happens, but Greg is kind of going a bit mad in the head, and this place seems to resemble it is really hell on earth. It's kind of like Disneyland, but for the Cenobites in Hellraiser. And whenever people go into this building, as a couple of individuals or groups go into this building during this story, and they find all these chains and all these dead bodies and blood, there is a few scenes where there is blood and gore in both of these stories, both in Down Satan and Dread, so be aware about that. But that is the overall story of Down Satan. So what I'm going to rate that story is a 3 stars out of 5. It wasn't as enjoyable as Dread, but it was an okay story. So in conclusion, I really enjoyed Dread. I knew that because it was such a short graphic novel, that the story line or the characters couldn't really go into super depth, as all these characters, there is not really a character arc for any of these stories. They don't really, the characters don't really change, apart from Steve, which goes insane in the first story. If you are new to Clive Barker and you don't know whether you'll like his work, I wouldn't start off with this one. I personally would start off with Hellbound Heart, which the Hellraiser movie is based on. But if you have read several of Clive Barker's work, like his novels, and or his short story collection, the Books of Blood, then I would definitely give Dread a try. It's nothing to touch you right home about. It's nothing that will blow your mind. But if you've got a couple of days free, and you want to read a graphic novel that's horror based, then I would definitely read this one. So that's it, guys. That is my review on Dread and Down Satan. If you've enjoyed the video, please give a like, comment down below, subscribe if you're new. If you do subscribe, please click on the little bell notification just so you know whenever I upload videos, which are every Monday and Friday. I will also link down below a link to my Goodreads account in case you want to follow me over there. And with all that said, have a great day, read some awesome books, and I will see you all in my next video.